Hello, Colin and I are here today to share a little bit with you from our Unwinding trauma protocols and a project we've been working on for pretty much the full year. And we wanted to give you a little snippet of what you can expect with movement and music as we go forward. Did you want to add
And
anything? Yep, go ahead, Colin.
absolutely. And Michelle, our audience might ask, what do you have in mind so that we can unwind?
Aha. And so what we're going to do with this is we're going to show you what people might choose as a mindfulness exercise or a way to relax. And then we're going to keep adding layers to it so that you can see how our program builds and what the results are out of that. So to get started, what we're going to do is just do a quick assessment so we have some way of measuring what we notice and feel. So the first could be your level of stress from 0 to 10. 10 being high, kind of just where are you at the moment? And you could also just check in with any monkey mind thoughts. So that's repetitive thoughts, or some people just say their heads spinning around like they're just going around a wheel all the time. And so if that's the case, just be aware of that. And then if you would just check in with your neck and just turn to one side to see what it feels like and to notice how far you can see. And so if you hear any cracking or notice particular muscles, that's just a great way to notice how you're feeling at the moment and where the level of stress is at. And now I'm going to introduce an idea which comes up in this protocol, which is integration. So how much of the rest of the body is invested in having you turn your head? So as you go to turn your head this time, I want you to notice how much of your waist, hips, shoulders might be involved. We're not turning the hips, but just what can you notice from the hips coming up that might be involved? So as you turn, just notice if there's any other body parts that decide they want to come with you. And if that means you get a little bit more range of motion. And sometimes for people, just saying integration, the body engages a little bit more and it has more ability to turn. So we just want to know what that feels like. And the last one is on your feet, noticing what it feels like to stand on your feet. If you can feel the pads of the 5 toes equally on the floor. If you can feel the big ball of the big toe joint and the pinky ball joint. If you can feel the weight equally going across both sides. You've got the outside edge of the foot and then the heel, and just seeing if all of that feels like it's kind of floating across the foot, or you've got some heavy spots where it tends to lean a little bit more. And you might notice it in your alignment. Okay, so those are some quick ways of just assessing what is the level of stress your body's holding for you at the moment. And we're just going to walk ourselves through a couple of exercises and see what happens. So, Colin, I'll let you take it away. I really wanted to be moving. That was so beautiful. Do you want to explain what you just did?
We are, so some of the key notes that we will be looking at the Notative Conference are C, F, and A. So what I was doing was combining these notes together and creating a melody out of that. And these notes, I would always come back. So there's certain patterns that I was playing that I would come back to. And what I was doing there was going from the bottom string, the G string on the violin, to the top string, to the E. And the notes C, F, and A appear 2 or 3 times on different levels. So we're looking at, for example, we're looking at the same note. It's just an octave above each note. And when we look at movement, there's a flow to what we've been doing. It might be, raising the arm above the head, for example, which might indicate a higher note or higher set of notes. Or maybe it might be something around the core of the body, around the belt channel. I think that's one of the, so there, that might be the 2 middle strings of the violin. Then as we go nearer the floor, that we go down to the lower strings, so you'll hear a lower note. And really, the lowest note that I went to was C, which is in line with the root chakra.
Perfect. So what we want to know now is, how did that music affect how you're feeling and your stress level? So if you go back to that scale from 0 to 10, check in and see if it's if that number's coming down, and then go back to the neck and see what it feels like to turn the neck now that we've had that music, and see if it's a little bit different. And then I'm going to invite you to think integration and see if there's a change in how that rotation works. See if you find you've got more involved. So I had more range just of turning the head, and I had more integration. So it went up in both. How about for you, Colin?
It did. I do actually have a bit more flexibility in terms of, rotation,
Yeah.
what I can actually do. And I was just thinking just now, please, our audience, feel free to do this more than once. You can put it on a loop. You can put the audio on a loop, and you can maybe, listen to it. And I think we've got other things that we're going to bring in as well.
Mm-hmm.
But even just sort of gently moving and then thinking the word interaction, and then listening to the music again and seeing what effect that has. Because what we're doing here is we're experimenting.
Mm-hmm. And we want to show you how intentionally doing something for a goal provides you with the space for adjustments to be made within the body for the level of stress, but then also how you might mentally feel, how you might feel lifted up, I would say in a spiritual context, but it just in overall well-being for how you're living. That's our end goal. So if you check in with your feet, notice if they're different now. Notice if the weight has shifted. While we were talking, I had kind of fallen in towards the center, but as we finished talking, I actually came back out and flattened out in a much better way. So there was a little bit of shift there. So on its most basic level, there's so much that can happen with music. Amazing things can happen with music. And we didn't put any parameters in. We just wanted just the music. and Colin being able to pull us through those keys and see what could happen for the body. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go a little bit further. So we're just going to do movement, but no music for this part. And so I'm going to invite you, if you have a wooden spoon, you could grab a wooden spoon. I have what's called a Tai Chi ruler. So I'm just going to grab it, which is just a stick that looks like this. Just thought it might be something a little bit interesting. You can do it without, so your hands are just going to go this way. All right, and what I'm going to do for this is I'm just going to pin, just so you can see the movement okay, and have a chance to play with it. You can do it seated or standing. I'm going to do it standing. My feet will just be not squished tight together, but just slightly apart, toes straight forward though. And my knees are going to be nice and relaxed. And we're just going to take the ruler up. So one hand is on the top, one on the bottom. And we're just going to push to one side, kind of like you were in a kayak, if you were paddling the kayak. And we're going to go the other way and come back. So we have sink, come back straight, sink, come back straight. So this one, you might notice your body wants to sway a little bit depending on what the move is. So you've got that lift and fall in the feet. And then you just have that nice, gentle glide with the hands. So let's just do 2 more. You probably couldn't hear, but there was a whole bunch of cracking going on my right foot. Okay, so I'm just going to put that down. And if we come back to what do you notice, again, you're going to go back to that 0 to 10. What do you feel like in your stress level? And then go back to turning your head. See if that is any different, have a different range or different feel, and then see how integrated it might feel. So integrated is definitely better. My range didn't improve, but integration did. And then if you go back to your feet, what are your feet now showing you? And mine are just starting to kind of do this. So it's almost like the day was here. I was doing a lot of walking today, and then it's now just kind of softening out. It's kind of how I would describe it. Okay, so with what you've noticed, what we want to do now is bring the movement and the music together. So you have a chance to try what happens when we bring them together. And we're going to use that same action. I'm going to step back, but I'm going to leave the camera where it is. You know what the action is, but now we can enjoy Colin playing too. Awesome. So if you check in with your feet now, see how they're feeling. And then if you want to do that same with the head, see what that feels like. That doesn't have as many cracks for me. I don't know about you, Colin. And then if you do the integrated, what does it feel like to open? And check in. Any changes for you, Colin?
I think my posture is actually a bit more upright, and I can feel all the balls of my feet on the ground. It's definitely a change in posture. As in more, because I'm actually sitting rather than standing.
Right, exactly. I noticed too, as soon as you started and I went to do that first drop, it was just drop. It was like the bottom just fell out of it and I could have just kept going, which I didn't have when it was just movement. I seemed to find kind of that bottom piece, but the music allows me to move well past that. And a few snap, crackle pops. There was a shoulder pop just a minute ago as well. So I don't know if you have any of those, but okay. So with that, we have now added music and movement together, plus it's intuitively playing. So Colin is actually bringing us through these keys still and helping us to feel those different notes to help with the unwinding. So what we want to do now is we want to add a little bit more. So we want to invite you to think about the goal right now, which is to de-stress and just to find where we are. And then we're going to add some artwork in. And this artwork is a photograph of nature done by Tanya Levy. She's the third partner in crime for this project. And so she's run it through filters, and then we've infused it with the note of F. Also infused within here is the idea of what stinging nettle, the herb, represents, which is align with your truth. And then the affirmations for this are: the truth in your heart is set free. You are inspired to swirl the truth of your life around you like a cocoon of love and passion. And there is no longer a separation between you and experience. It is a complete compass. So as we're thinking about that goal of de-stressing and then just swirling everything around you that you need in order to be de-stressed. All right, so we have that added piece in there, but we also have some tea to go with that. So this is called Highland Splendor, and it is, I'm just looking at the package so I get all of the pieces correct on it. So it looks like that. So this has orange rooibos, some lemon balm, peppermint, strawberry, blackcurrant, lemongrass, orange blossom, lavender, heathers, rose petals, chamomile, ginger, rose hip honeybush, and creamed Earl Grey. So it's quite a combination, but this is a great way for us to really be able to cultivate. And so we have the stinging nettle herb itself, but then we have it's backed up by almost like an orchestra. So we're going to invite you to think about, if you've got a sip of water there, imagine that you have all of the herbs and the essences of the herbs. We're adding the artwork and the tea. Okay, and the tea color, I should mention that too, because the tea color in there you could probably see. It's just such a beautiful orange, which is also lovely to connect in with color. And we had the color that was in the artwork. Okay, so Colin is going to play again. I'm going to step back and we're going to use that ruler one more time. We'd like you to see what happens now that we've added all these extra pieces on top. How did that feel, Colin?
It felt a bit more peaceful, and I actually did just venture out and try something slightly different. So I went down to a B flat, that's the note below the C, and it was almost like a hesitancy note. The idea about stepping out of a range of what we've been doing and just trying something new, like that emerging seed of inspiration, that emerging bud. And there was more of a rocking sensation between the FACCAF. So it's like a rocking sensation around these notes. And I actually felt quite at home playing that, just playing that piece.
So I'm hoping everybody, as you're listening, you can see how things transpire, and particularly for the musician, what happens in the playing and how that comes back across. It was a beautiful piece that you played at the very beginning. It was, and I really wanted to move to it, but I was trying not to move. And then to be able to just really get into that piece of music. And like you said, it carried you as well, instead of so much you wanted to deliver the piece of music. Yeah. So let's go back to ways of knowing. So from 0 to 10, level of stress. Let's see if that number has changed in any way. I didn't really have a number before, but I don't feel like I even want to put a number on it now. So that's an interesting kind of observation. Then if you just want to turn your head and just see what that turning is feeling like. You might notice it's just like a little bit, I don't know, lighter maybe. Nice.
I would say it's a little bit lighter. For me, it's a little bit lighter on the right hand side.
Okay.
And something is maybe trying this first thing in the morning, or just about 5 or 6 after a day at work, at 5 or 6 p.m. or maybe during a lunch hour. Experiment with the time. You've got the sequence here, audience, you've got our sequence here, and maybe experimenting with the time of day.
So let's look at integration and see what's happened there. So when you go to turn, how might the rest of the body help you with that turn? And what does it feel like if it smoothly makes that turn? And integration just meaning how much of the rest of the body is involved. So whole body movement is what we're looking at. And then if you come back to your feet, how do they feel? And if you've never done kind of awareness of the feet before, what we're looking for is a buoyancy in the feet. So as the toes hit the floor, heel's going to be on the floor, but you have this kind of this little piece here, and that softness allows all the joints in the body to also be soft. So when we find that piece, and that was that rowing part was that inspiration for that, then you have that opportunity to feel that kind of lightness come into your foot. So hopefully now you're feeling it's equal across all parts of the foot. And as Colin was saying, in the day, if you were to check in at noon to discover that everything was really tight in your feet, you were locked up in your legs, maybe lower back was a little bit tight, that's a way of noticing what stress is doing to your body, to be able to go, I need to do something different. And then what we've shown you today is the layers that we've put into our unwinding trauma protocol. We're looking for ways of building resiliency, energy, and vitality, how you can put that in your day, but through many different means and layered means. So not just one choice, but something that's really going to make a huge impact for you. And the key piece to that is Colin playing, where he can carry us through those notes that take us from our root chakra all the way up to third eye and brow, and new ideas, new inspirations, and how to move forward. Yeah. Anything further for you, Colin?
Give it a go. You never know unless you bowl. That's from a musician's perspective. But give it a go and try the different combinations. And we do look forward to catching up with yourselves at the Nollative conference.
So we'll be presenting this in Tenerife in May 2024. Colin teaches online and is willing to help share building the expertise for people of how to play in a way that has this kind of inspiration. How can they find you, Colin?
Go to celticfiddleguru.com and or email support@celticfiddleguru.com. And I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/celticfiddleguru, or the same with Instagram, instagram.com/celticfiddleguru. So I'll look out for messages.
Perfect, thank you. And if you're looking for movement, I do online classes and in person. I do Tai Chi and dance, and sometimes it's kind of like a mix of both. So you can find my schedule. Currently it's on dancedebut.com, and the greenwellcenter.com will be releasing shortly. If you want to know anything else about the resources, you can find me on Linktree, and it's Greenwell Center, CENTER. And that's where all the resources are sitting. But we will be sharing more about our programming and also having Tanya with us to talk about the art and the power of what's within the art as well. And we look forward to sharing that with you. Thanks for listening, giving it a try, and learning a little bit more about the stress that you have in your life and how you can transform it.
Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you in Tenerife.